Courtney have been on a wild ride this season. Remember last season, after she got out of prison, they're all smiles. Will was tying Courtney up in those little ropes and she was licking cooter juice off his finger. They just could not stop smiling and having sex nonstop. It seemed like they couldn't keep their hands off each other. But now it's only been 6 weeks since they tied the knot, and it seems like their love story has done a complete 180. All of a sudden, Courtney doesn't want to answer any of Will's phone calls, so he has no idea where she's at. Even the producers can't get a hold of Courtney, and that's her only means of income right now outside of Will. So you'd think even if she didn't want to talk to Will, she would at least be talking to the producers. And her mom has even heard from her in quite a few days, and her mom said typically when Courtney starts ignoring her, it's because she's up to no good and she doesn't want her mom to see her like that. Will calls Courtney's mother. Courtney's mom says, I haven't heard from her. I'm concerned myself. And Will was like, okay, if you hear anything, let me know. And once he gets out the phone, he's telling the producers, yeah, I thought it was a great idea marrying Courtney because we had such a great connection straight out of prison. But now she won't talk to me. And I'm realizing that getting married after 2 days might have been a huge mistake. Huh, you don't say. Anybody could have told you that, and people even tried to warn Will, but Will was being delusional enough to think that good coochie would be enough to have a long-lasting marriage. Then we see Will, and he goes to meet up with one of his friends at like this arcade bar, and right when Will walks in, he orders himself a drink, and all of a sudden he gets a phone call, and he picks up his phone, and it's like, hello, you got a call from... And then it lists the jail that she's at. And then Will walked outside. And then eventually Courtney was like, hi, I'm so sorry. And he's like, sorry about what? And she's like beating around the bush. And eventually she said, I'm in jail. Once she said that, Will looked like somebody just punched him in the gut. He looked so damn shocked and surprised. And I don't know why it took a minute for it to click for him and why she had to say she was in jail before he realized that. Because I would have known the minute she was in jail as soon as I picked up the phone and heard the, hello, you have a call from this jail. Like he didn't even notice when that came on at first. Maybe he's just immune to it from her calling so many times from being in jail in the past. And she's like, yeah, so I'm locked up because my PO decided to show up at where I'm staying, and he's like, do you have anything you're not supposed to have? And come to find out, she had some GHB on her, which perfectly explains why she sounded the way she sounded whenever Will talked to her that first night. And I remember, like in my video, I kind of try to play devil's advocate. I'm like, maybe she's just really tired. But then again, it's hard to make your voice sound a certain way like that unless you're really under the influence. And I don't know if this is true or not, but back in the day, like, I was in a halfway house like 6 years ago. And this girl that I was roommates with, I remember her telling me a story about how she left one night for an overnighter and they would always drug test you when you came back. But she specifically decided to do GHB with her boyfriend one night because she was trying to act like it didn't show up in the drug test that the halfway house did. So maybe that's why she was trying to do GHB, because she thought it wouldn't show up in a drug test. And she probably did not anticipate her PO showing up at her house and catching her slipping, so she thought she was going to be able to get away with it and just use a little GHB here and there. Like, where is she getting it, though? Is her little sponsor friend bringing her the GHB? That's probably why she had so many sugar daddies in prison, to cover her drug habit in prison, because I have a hard time believing she wasn't using in prison if the first thing she wants to do day one of her prison release is get high. And out of all things, GHB, like, I remember seeing clips of Dylan, from Love After Lockup, and his girlfriend Marissa on GHB. It did not look fun at all. I'm sure plenty of you guys saw those video clips. Like, they just look like zombies. Like, Dylan was just like all stretched out on his back on a couch with his head just hanging out, with his eyes closed and his mouth open, just moaning and groaning, sounding like a zombie. I'm like, that does not look fun at all. That's the drug people usually use and slip in people's drinks so they can SA or try to rob them. And Courtney was like, yeah, so I'm in jail. I could be in here for a week or I could be up in here for up to 6 months. And Will was like, 6 months? And she's like, yeah, I'm so sorry. Please stand by me this whole time. And I really need you to send some money on my books. And Will was like, why should I do that for you? You sat there and went back to jail, and obviously you don't give a damn about this marriage. She's like, yes, I do. I do anything for you. And he's like, if you would do anything, then you would have stayed out of jail. And he even applied for their interstate compact, and it's currently being investigated. And with her going to jail, getting caught with drugs literally weeks after being out of prison, that's not going to look good for her. They're not going to want her to leave the state. They're going to want to keep her as close as possible and keep a close eye out on her. Shout out to Will, though, because when she's like, are you going to put money on my books? He's like, no, you can sit in there and eat that damn jail food. I was like, God damn. But you know what? That's kind of what Courtney needs in her life. It seems like she's probably been around people who have constantly enabled her behavior, let her walk all over them. And Will is not about to let that happen. And he sat there and said that he doesn't even know if he wants to still be married to Courtney after all this, especially if she's going to be going away for 6 months because he didn't sign up to be a prison husband. That's why you really got to sit down and get to know somebody and really take your time getting to know that person, especially if they're right out of prison, to make sure that they're not going to go right back to that lifestyle, because this is all Courtney's known her whole adult life, and it definitely looks like she is not tired of that life yet. With her trying to take GHB, knowing it likely won't show up in a drug test, that just tells me, if anything, Courtney just went to prison and just learned how to become a better criminal, if anything. And now Will is sitting here and not knowing what to do next. And I mean, Courtney wasn't even talking to Will for a while before she went to jail. So I think he has every right to sit here and punish her. I mean, yes, that's his wife and everything, but she didn't act like she needed him leading up to jail, up until she finally had no other choice and thought he was just going to be a sucker and jump right back in. Courtney got Will out here all stressed the hell out. He's sucking on that vape for dear life, pacing back and forth. He don't know what to do. But let me know what you guys think about these two in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you guys so much for watching.